a taxi is among the most dangerous jobs in the country. Challenges include a lack of health care coverage, work weeks that average 60 to 70 hours, and a pay that can be less than half of the minimum wage. Bhairavi Desai is a young woman who believes in fighting for the rights of the working class, specifically cab drivers. She is the executive director of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, an advocacy group of more than 18,000 cab drivers in New York City. And right now, they're facing the toughest battle in their lives: Uber.
Good morning, President Trumpka. I'm Bhairavi Desai of the National Taxi Workers Alliance. So we represent a workforce that does not have pensions. We don't have Social Security contributions. We don't even have access to unemployment insurance. And it's for that very reason that I stand in support of Resolution 9.
Bhairavi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you.
Like I mentioned to you earlier, for all the strong things you do, you come across as such a humble and soft-spoken person. And through your story, I think the audience is going to find out about all the powerful things that you do for the rights of so many people. Tell us how the taxi drivers inspire you. I know you do a lot for them, you speak on their behalf, but how did they inspire you in turn?
Oh, I mean, they're my teachers. I mean, if I have a voice about this industry, and it's because of what drivers have taught me, and so I learn from the experts directly. And I mean, drivers are just amazing people. They work 60 to 70 hours a week, and they face so many obstacles, from the companies that they're leasing from and have a high debt to the public that they serve, to the fellow motorists they share the streets with, to really the main people in power.
My name is Sandeep Koshal. I was born in India. I moved to this country when I just finished my high school, actually. I started driving the taxi cab in 2002.
Pitch is a ground ball up the middle and on into center field. A base hit.
Challenging things are like stuck in traffic and trying to figure out which way would be the better way for someone who's trying to get there faster, Yeah, I go to college in the morning. This is my college ID. I study while I'm stopped at a light, or maybe when I'm waiting for a passenger at the airport. I think I do know every single part of the city. I mean, if it's a new one, I will maybe shout, "Oh, it's a new one."
Bhairavi can often be seen on the local news or at public hearings making passionate arguments on behalf of cab drivers that are seasoned with statistics and left-wing rhetoric.
Salute your brothers and sisters for your hard work. You are our heart. You are the reason we do what we do, and you are our fist. You are the power that we hold. Yeah. We love you. We salute you, and together we shall prevail. We shall prevail.
We shall prevail.
Bhairavi led a historic taxi drivers' work stoppage in 1998. For one day, 40,000 drivers parked their taxis and refused to work in New York City. In 1998, you organized one of the biggest work stoppages of the taxi drivers, where 40,000 taxi drivers parked their cars and refused to work to bring attention to the working conditions. Tell us about that. You were the force behind that. And what was the result of the stoppage?
Well, yeah, it was just phenomenal. We were the Taxi Workers Alliance. We organized it, we spearheaded it. The impetus for that strike was people were just really fed up. The mayor at the time, Giuliani, had announced this 17 different rules, reform package. Fines on drivers were going to go up by over 600%. Now, mind you, these are workers who barely, who have no guarantee of income. You begin every day at a negative. Nowadays, a negative of $130 to $190, paying for your lease, paying for the gasoline and other expenses. Right. And you can get pulled over for any random reason. In fact, there is a taxi unit, the NYPD, right? One of the biggest police forces on earth, one of the biggest cities in the world, the capital of capital. There is a police unit that only tickets taxi drivers. Can you imagine that?
Bhairavi, this strike was the catalyst of what is now the NYTWA. Mm-hmm. Tell us how many members you have and what exactly is the NYTWA?
Well, we now have 18,000 members. We started out with 0.
The last I read it was 15, so wow, it's just growing.
Yeah. No, we're at 18,000 and counting. Every day we grow. And we do it the old-fashioned way. We go out onto the streets and sign people up.
The drivers, the union, the people, united. We will never, ever be defeated.
People take close to 500,000 taxi trips per day in New York City. And the taxi system could be considered the 7th largest transportation system in the country.
The Taxi Workers Alliance is a grassroots union of taxi workers in New York City. We provide benefits and services, so we have like a term life insurance policy for our dues-paying members. We have discounted legal representation. We help people with citizenship for free. We've been running computer classes, ESL classes for free. We're all in the trenches, right? And so we're in the trenches for so long, and we're fighting battles that oftentimes are really misconstrued by the public. There are multiple forces at play against us.
It's very political.
Very political, very stratified, very political. And the people we fight have tremendous wealth.
I have seen so many cab drivers robbed, beat up, and injured in this industry. And we have no one to vouch for us except the Taxi Workers Alliance, who would come out and make a lot of noise so the media can know what's going on.
Bhairavi, you have said that cab drivers are the ultimate outsiders on the inside. What do you mean by that?
Well, the drivers are economically and politically marginalized, but they are central to running this city. I mean, collectively, just the yellow cab industry serves 500,000 people in one day. From the airports alone, we're talking about 30,000 fares. A taxi driver in their professional career will certainly meet more members of the public than most elected officials do in their tenure.
That's true. That makes sense.
Yeah, and you're the soundboard. You're oftentimes listening to people. You're the ambassador. You're often the first face they meet when they come into this place. Sometimes you're the last person they see when they're leaving the city. And you're serving both New Yorkers and lots of tourists coming from all over the world. So there's an internationalist sense also that you always find in drivers.
Right.
I'm working the yellow taxi in 1 year in the New York City.
About 8 years.
I'm doing for 23.
A lot of issues, traffic conditions, passengers, and the long hours of, being confined in a car.
Nighttime,
Especially weekends, you get a lot of crazy people giving you a hard time and stuff.
Bhairavi says the people she serves inspire and motivate her. Through taxi drivers, she's learned the true meaning of honesty and humor, forgiveness and fairness, the maturity to handle difficulties with grace at all times, and the importance of dignity. As head of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, Bhairavi will stop at nothing to stand up for the rights of the cab drivers.
Speaking of an international sense, your membership is very diverse. I think over 100 countries are represented through the drivers that you lead. Now, some of these drivers come from neighboring countries that have tension. How does this translate into their relationship over here, and how do you manage that?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, at the time in 1998, it was mainly drivers from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India.
Which is trouble.
Yes. How many wars between us, you know? If we were going to have a meeting with Pakistani members, I would insist that it was in a Bangladeshi restaurant.
Okay.
If we were meeting with Bangladeshi members, you know, I would insist that it was, you know, at an Indian restaurant or a Pakistani place. And we forced people to come together.
To erase the borders.
Absolutely. We're one people.
In 2002, airport holding lots were also the site of a healthcare fair for drivers. The event, organized by NYTWA, enabled more than 600 drivers to receive health screenings from 14 institutions.
Over 50% of drivers have no health care at all. And no driver, 100% of the drivers, have absolutely no disability insurance.
When I got sick, as you know, I have kidney problems. We had no health care from the industry. We had no one to look out for us economically. I almost went bankrupt. I almost lose my house. And thank God for the Taxi Workers Alliance, who basically helped me out during those times, economically. And I have children, and I have grandchildren who I'm taking care of. So you can imagine what I've been through.
New York City is a taxi capital of America and home of the classic yellow taxi cab. But NYTWA now faces the biggest battle in its history with Uber.
Can we touch the sensitive topic now about Uber?
Sure.
Tell us about the battle that's going on with Uber and your thoughts.
Well, you know, Uber is quite a monster. They're a $50 billion corporation, and the thing that is so problematic is Uber's business model believes in taking the full-time jobs of taxi driving and turning that work into part-time work. They call it gig work, so it's part-time, temporary, insecure. But, you know, for generations, drivers have been doing this job, you know, to raise families. We need to earn family-sustaining incomes from this job.
Years ago when I was driving, I would go on a Friday night and I would make like $300-400 for myself. So that's total 5-something. With the lease, I would give the garage, and that was good. I would only go to work like 2 days, make like $1,000 in college is like so much money. But now if I go, the max I can probably make is $200. So now like my profit decreased by $300, so I don't make as much money now. So yeah, Uber has a big impact on Yellow Cab.
How do you talk to the public on a public level for a person out there who says, you know, honestly, I don't care because I'm getting a ride for cheaper. What would you like to say to that person?
Well, I mean, I would say that, you know, throughout you know, the modern era, we've had consumer boycotts as a strategy to bring a corporation into the right path, right? You know, we can never allow the floor to come down on any workforce, because when it comes down on one workforce, it falls for everybody, including those that are above us.
What we are talking about is an elimination of an entire industry and elimination of jobs with nothing in return for them and their families. And that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable.
Bhairavi has been awarded a Ford Foundation grant and has been invited to the White House twice. President Obama greeted her in the receiving line at a state dinner by exclaiming, "I was an organizer too." More with Bhairavi after the break. a woman challenged in a male-dominated, multi-ethnic industry. NYTWA is a membership-based nonprofit union fighting for the rights of New York City's 50,000 plus taxi drivers.
Bhairavi, how do you survive in a multi-ethnic, male-dominated industry?
Well, we have an amazing team. We have a really great support network, and ultimately, you keep your eyes on the prize. We're social activists. For us, you don't blink in the face of injustice. You have to stand up to it.
You're a leader, a role model for so many women out there. I want to know who your role models are.
Oh, my mom. My mom is just the most amazing person that I've ever known. But if she sees injustice, she has the roar of a lion. And I was very much raised to be that way.
To roar.
To roar.
And roar you have, I know.
The time it takes or the toll it takes, the sacrifice we make, our struggle always wins. And we are here to say to the TLC.
Tell us, Bhairavi, where do you see the NYTWA going in the future?
Well, we really are in the fight of our lives as an industry, as a workforce, Uber plans to put out a driverless car. They've ordered like 500,000 of them, according to some reports.
Oh my gosh.
Within the next 20 years. And so this is a fight of our lives, to maintain a profession for, 250,000 workers in this country alone. I can't wait for the day when, we're organizing with our brothers and sisters in Kathmandu and New Delhi and, Lahore and, Colombo and, Nepal and just everywhere across the globe, not just in South Asia, but everywhere across the globe.
Wow, what a great mission. I can see it happening. I can really see it happening. We're sitting in the back seat of a cab right now. Is it true that you don't drive?
I don't.
You don't drive.
At this point, I don't even think they'd let me drive.
But then you have all your buddies who probably drive you around, so you're good to go.
Well, and the reason I think they wouldn't let me drive is not because I have all my buddies. I think they're like, I'm not sure they trust me at this point.
Oh no. To the 18,000 brothers and sisters that you support, what message would you like to give to them?
The message I would give to them is rise up, build the union. Nothing can defeat us when we are united. People have the power, and fighting injustice, it's our birthright. It's as human as knowing how to breathe. It's as necessary as knowing how to read and write and walk and talk and stand up for yourself and feed yourself. And the Taxi Workers Alliance, we have the power of the people. The other side may have money, but we've got the people. And when the people are united, nothing is deniable.
Never underestimate the power of the people.
Never underestimate the power of the people. When you have nothing to lose, you have a world to win.
And never underestimate the power of Bhairavi Desai. I can say that for sure today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhairavi. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bhairavi Desai is my commander-in-chief. And like I tell her, if I was in the military and she was the commanding officer as a woman, I wouldn't have no problem of taking orders from her. And that's because I've seen her done things that many other people, especially men, have tried to do and fail. So I will defend Bhairavi with the last breath in my body. And I told her that this is nothing new.
No matter where you are or who you are, a student leaving a crowded nightclub, an executive trying to make it to a meeting, a tourist lugging too many bags, there's always an escape hatch. Just stick out your hand and hail a cab. Yes, these cab drivers are the heart of the city, and Bhairavi Desai is their captain. Bhairavi has a gentle girl next door look, but don't be fooled, because she can roar. as she leads a diverse population of 18,000 New York taxi drivers in their fight for work contracts, benefits, and fair treatment. I know the next time I sit in a cab, I'll be looking at my ride and my cab driver in a whole new light. I'm Nisha Mathur, reminding you it's time to find your key to Kismat and seize your destiny.